So today I just thought I'd share with you guys a real life dinner for us. It is a chicken leg and barbecue, so barbecue chicken legs. I may roast them in the oven just to give them that little bit of a honeyier, crystallized, caramelized glaze to them, but we'll see if we have time. We're trying to get dinner done early today because my kids have VBS tonight. So the chicken's going right there. It's been going since about 8:30 this morning. I had it on high for 4 hours. I just turned it down to low because I don't think that I will need it to go that much longer. And I'm about to get started. We're gonna do macaroni and cheese and squash. So my goal is to share with you guys today 3 easy ways to get your kids to eat vegetables. So if you have picky eaters or if you're struggling to get your kids to eat vegetables, this is a good, easy way to do it. So again, that's the 3 easy things that you will find completely, they sound crazy, but they help a lot. So one of them, the first one being helping cook the broccoli and allowing them to help prepare the vegetable. But the second one being that I serve my side of vegetables actually while I'm still cooking the main dish and the other sides. This allows them to have something to snack on, and usually they wipe the vegetables clean because they're starving. The third thing that I would say is the squash. We again, sometimes mix vegetables in. Try to get a little creative to encourage more vegetable eating in the house. And for the most part, this all works great. You'll find that this is a real live kitchen. This is not gonna be a setup. My goal and my hope with you guys is to just kind of bring you on our journey, bring you on our day-to-day, and allow you to join in on what we typically do as a family for meals, and for me to learn from you guys and from y'all to learn from us, and things that we do that may work for y'all. But if you have any tricks of the trade, if there's any things that you happen to like, then of course feel free to share that. If there's ways that you think you can get your kids to eat that are good ideas, go ahead and share with us, comment below, and we would love to hear your ideas as well. So let's get started. All right, first I'm gonna take the chicken and put it in the pot. If you hear sound in the background, that's because my kids are in here. I just like to try to get it all over the chicken.
Is there blood in here?
There is.
Is that for Donald?
It is, yeah.
Chicken legs?
That's right. And then I'm gonna try to...
This is my favorite thing ever.
I'm so glad.
I just love it. It tastes good.
I'm very glad. Sorry, the camera's new to them, so this is a new thing for them. But once I get the barbecue sauce in, I'm just gonna rotate the chicken legs.
What are you doing on that?
Explaining to them what's going on. And then that way we make sure we have the barbecue sauce on all sides. And you can always add more later if you need to. But you want the barbecue sauce on all sides so that it can not get crispy on one side without barbecue sauce on it. You don't want it to cook and dry out and get stuck to the pot or anything like that. All right, so now I'm just gonna put the lid on, and we're gonna turn it on high and let it cook for at least 6 hours. I'd probably check it, I'll check it throughout the day, and that way I can make sure that no areas are getting burnt, and I can add more barbecue if I need to, just kind of peek in. But for the most part, once you get comfortable cooking this, you can cook it and just leave it for a long time. All right, so first of all, we're gonna do, one of the things that we like to do that helps encourage more vegetables in our house is we do have some picky eaters, but when we do it this way, it seems to work out really well. So one of the things that I do that allows me to encourage more vegetable eating in our house is we try to mix vegetables in with some foods that you may not think about. So we tend to get creative in this area. One of the things that I like to mix vegetables with is macaroni and cheese, because who doesn't like macaroni and cheese? We love macaroni and cheese at this house, so by mixing the squash in with the macaroni and cheese, squash tends to be pretty watery anyway, so and you don't have to cook squash, you can actually eat it raw. So I'm gonna cook the macaroni and cheese separate, and then instead of adding the milk and butter in at first, what I'm gonna do is actually add the squash in first and then see how much milk and butter I need. So my goal is to puree. So I'm gonna chop this all up, and I've already rinsed it off and cleaned it. I'm just gonna chop it up and puree it in a bowl. And then once the macaroni and cheese is done, before adding any milk or butter, I'm gonna add this in first. Sorry. All right, and before I get started on pureeing this, I'm gonna go ahead and get the macaroni and cheese water boiling. That way it can be going ahead and boiling and we're not wasting time. It kind of saves us time to go ahead and get that started. And then again, once it's done, while that's boiling and cooking, I can be pureeing this. All right, so today you can do macaroni and cheese that is just, homemade macaroni and cheese. Today I'm just going the simple route because again, we got to get the kids to VBS tonight, so it's kind of going to be a longer day. So we're just going to do regular Kraft macaroni and cheese, which, I grew up on, so it's kind of a meal that we love to bring back, obviously, and it's pretty simple. Now, on another day when I have more time and able to be home, then I can cook from scratch and make the macaroni and cheese from scratch. Same thing with the chicken legs. If you happen to have homemade barbecue sauce, go for it. Use the homemade barbecue sauce because that would give it so much more flavor. We do not, and I have not quite learned how to make homemade barbecue sauce yet, but we plan to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get this started and put it on the stove and boiling. And add the olive oil. You can use salt too. I like to use the olive oil, and just once the noodles go in, we got to give it a good stir. All right, so this is going to be boiling while we get ready with our squash. All right, so we've cut the squash. I'm going to take time before we puree it to go ahead and get this steamed, and that way it gets a little bit softer. You don't have to steam it, but it might be easier for you to puree and get it to a creamy texture. That's the texture that you want, is just for it to be kind of creamy. That way it mixes in with the macaroni and cheese. So we'll go ahead and get that on the stove and steaming, and then we will puree it while this is steaming, and once it's done steaming a little bit, we'll go ahead and puree it, but we still have the water boiling in the background, so we're good to go. Everything's kind of working at the same time. All right, so while the water is boiling, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on chopping the broccoli. I've kind of already started, but for me, with the broccoli, the smaller the piece, the better it tastes for me. I like the seasoning kind of takes over, and I think it helps the kids as well. You don't wanna overdo salt on it, just because that's obviously not healthy, but we do tend to put a good bit of salt and pepper, and I always like to think, it's better to eat more and put a little bit more seasoning on salt and pepper. It's easier to put a little bit more seasoning at home, and I don't have to feel quite as guilty about it because I know they're at least eating a vegetable that is fresh, as well as getting those nutrients, and you don't really have to worry about the salt content of homemade stuff. Because you're the one seasoning it, so you know exactly how much you're putting into it. And I tend to like the taste of salt and pepper on my vegetables, and this is one of the easiest vegetables that we do, and growing up, I never had anybody roast vegetables for me. We didn't eat roasted ones. So this is something that I learned within the past couple years, is using parchment paper so it doesn't stick, and just adding olive oil, salt, and pepper to taste, to however you like the taste of it. And my kids love it. They eat it as soon as it comes out of the oven. And to be honest, so do I, which was not something that I used to do. So I'm really thankful that with the roasting vegetables, and I'll show you here in a minute, with roasting, all you do is I put all this in a bowl and put olive oil on it, salt and pepper, and then I put a piece of parchment paper down. I spray it very lightly with Pam or some sort of spray, nonstick spray, and then put on the pan and put the pan in the oven at 350. And usually it takes about 20-25 minutes, give or take, to roast the vegetables, but they come out so good. And this is one thing that they're able to snack on while I'm finishing cooking the rest of the food. So if you have picky eaters, this is the way to go. It allows your kids to snack while you're cooking, because let's face it, how many times do your kids come up to you while you're eating dinner or making dinner and ask you, is it ready yet? I'm hungry. And so this allows them to eat something while you're still cooking. So it's an easy step of giving your kids an extra vegetable, but also they love it because it gives them something to snack on while you're finishing up dinner. So taking one of those sides from dinner that you would typically serve on the table, and maybe preparing it ahead of time, while cooking it first and preparing it first, and then allowing your kids to snack on it while you're finishing the rest of the dinner, not only satisfies them, it allows you to have peace of mind, so they're not constantly coming up to you asking you when's dinner ready. And it gives them that extra vegetable. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. And allowing your kids to help you cook will help them want to eat the vegetable as well. So those are some of my tricks of the trade that we use here at our house. If you guys have any tricks of the trade that you use at your home that you like, please feel free to share, comment below, and let us know what you may do at your house that helps your kids eat vegetables, or things that allow them to enjoy their dinner and still get that vegetable in. I think our squash is almost done. So once I'm done chopping this, we'll go ahead and get started on the squash. Now, I like to have mine about maybe this size, like a little, that size. It just allows more flavor to get on it, and the roasted flavor itself, even without the salt and pepper, is delicious. It's fantastic. So I'm just making sure they're all about the same size. If you cook them at some really small, some really big, then unfortunately it makes it harder for all of them to get done about the same time. So you want them to be about the same size. Or close enough, they don't have to be exact. Trying to get all the leaves out. This one had a lot of leaves on it. All right, so I'm finished cutting it. I'm just gonna stick it, set it aside in a bowl. And then I'm gonna set it aside in a bowl, and then when my daughter comes down, I'll let her help me season it and get it on the pan. And that way this one will be complete. See, that was really easy. Literally all I did was rinse it, cut it, chop it, stick it in a bowl, and we'll season it here in a minute, and I'll show you how to do that. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and get started on the squash. Let me get this kind of set off to the side and thrown away. Okay, so I think our squash is finished. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out off the burner and bring that over here, and we'll go ahead, I may go ahead and just puree it in the pot. That way we're trying to not dirty up quite as many dishes. I'm just gonna drain off the water. Actually, I may go ahead and stick it in this bowl, back in this bowl. That way we don't have to worry about the water, extra water. All right, so turn the burner off. I'm gonna go ahead and puree this, and then we'll use it to see how liquidy it already is now that, especially now that we steamed it. Again, you can do this raw, but it's a lot easier to puree it if, and it kind of blends in and purees. It gives a better texture in the macaroni and cheese if you are able to puree it and steam it first. Now I know why people wear aprons, because I'm getting this all over me. I'm just trying to get all the chunks out, because again, when you put it in the macaroni and cheese, you want it to be pretty well pureed. That way they don't get a big chunk of squash. Now, to be honest, even if they did, I really don't think that they would notice because the mac and cheese itself is pretty soft and it's about the same color. That's why we got creative and used this vegetable in macaroni and cheese. If you guys have other ideas, that this is a good thing just to kind of brainstorm and be able to start thinking about. It helps you start thinking about ways to kind of outside the box, get your kids to eat vegetables, more vegetables. All right, so this is what our pureed squash looks like. You want it kind of soft and, ooh, I almost poured it out. You want it just soft and pure, pretty well pureed. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and unhook this and put it away. And our oil and water are still not quite boiling. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get my daughter and bring her down, and we'll get started on the broccoli, finish up the broccoli. Did you wash your hands? Let's see here. All right, so we have Caroline here. She's gonna help us out. And I'm not making her do this. She wants to do it and help out, but I think she's being a little shy. Do you want to put the olive oil in? You washed your hands? Thank you. All right, here, why don't I pour it into a little thing, and then that way you can pour it in. I'm just using a 1/8 measuring cup. I don't really measure this. I kind of just do it by eye, and we'll probably do 1 or 2 of those. There you go. Might do 2. There you go. Okay, so we'll do maybe 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And you're gonna dip it out. Go ahead and scoop it out. There you go. And then sprinkle that around. Perfect, good job. And a tablespoon.
I want to do it by myself.
Okay, but we got to change it to the tablespoon one. Because we don't want to, we want a little bit more salt. Okay, let go. There we go. Okay, that way makes it a little easier. And again, you can do this to taste if you want less salt because you have some sort of diet that requires you to not have a whole lot of salt. Ooh, not that much. That's good. Then that's fine. But also we have to remember that we're cooking, you know, this is a raw vegetable. So if we were to go to a restaurant and eat food, you'd be getting a lot more salt and pepper and other seasonings or things that maybe aren't so healthy. So it's okay to add a little bit of salt to taste. That way it allows you to enjoy the food and eat home more. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to eat home, and it's worse for you to eat out than you were to eat at home. All right, you ready to mix it up? So get your hands in there and kind of mix it up. Well, Mommy gets the parchment. Just don't spray it all over the camera. The parchment paper allows it to not stick so much, which makes it a lot easier to get off and enjoy eating when you're done. And also, the cleanup is fantastic. All you have to do is throw it away. In a second. All right, so the water and the oil's boiling, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started and put the mac and cheese in there. That way it can be cooking while we finish up the broccoli. All right, so we have the macaroni and cheese going for about 7 minutes. And while that finishes, we're gonna finish up the broccoli with my little helper. All right, find the, if I use this one, that would be a good one to use. We're just adding a little bit more salt and pepper just to make sure it kind of gets spread all over. We do like pepper in this house. Good job. All right, I think that's enough for that one.
No sugar.
Nope, not sugar, salt. Can I have the lid? I'll use the same one. All right, you want to use the same one? All right, now do you want to mix it or you want Mommy to? You want me to? Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay, now you're gonna dump the broccoli? Good job. Thank you.
I thought that was...
Did you get it all? Good job.
I was going to split.
You wanna spread it out? Okay. Goody, goody, good. Goody, good. Is it ready? You notice a loaf of bread back there. That's one of those crusty, just loaves of bread. It's not necessarily sourdough, but I usually use the rack for my oven because I don't have a cooling rack. So I just stuck that back in the, you can eat it, that's okay. Yeah, I just stuck the rack back in the oven. That way we could use it for the broccoli. So once the oven's preheated, we will stick this in.
Can I try one?
I don't think you're gonna like it raw, but you can try it. Okay, well, I'm glad you like it. Now let's wait until the rest, that way everybody else has a chance to eat some too, okay? We'll let it cook some.
I'm going to stir it.
Mommy's gonna stir it because it's boiling water. Goodness gracious, Mama's struggling today. you were right. We should have stirred it sooner.
Thank you. Let's taste these things. I'll just try one. These things taste good.
Stop eating the broccoli. You sneaking broccoli in on my back stirred. You little stinker. You tasting out of there? I'm gonna get you. Stop eating my broccoli. Okay, once the oven's preheated, we'll stick this in the oven, okay? That way it'll taste a little bit better and we'll let the boys come down and eat. What are you wanting? This?
The boil pot.
This?
Ew.
Yeah, those are the broccoli leaves. I don't think you want to eat those. This broccoli had a lot of leaves on it, see? Look, someone's there. All right, so the macaroni and cheese is finished. We're just waiting for the oven to preheat for the broccoli. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain this off and then we'll mix the squash in first with the cheese packets. You're not gonna have any left. We need to save some for your brothers and sister, okay? Okay, so the oven is preheated. So before we get started on mixing the squash and into the macaroni and cheese, be careful, this is hot. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this into the oven and let it start cooking.
Where's the cheese?
All right,
I'm gonna put the cheese.
that's fine. All right, so can you dump this into there, please? Do you know what that is?
Squash.
It is squash, that's right.
I don't want it to burn on me. I don't want it.
That won't burn you.
Ew. It's squash. This is stinky squash. How did Bob?
Okay.
Bob.
All right, go ahead and dump this in.
Okay.
We may not need all of this, so I may take
Mommy,
some out.
Mommy.
Well, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and dump it in. I think it'll be fine. Thank you. That one too.
Okay.
You got it? You want to stir it? All right, so I'm going to bring this camera in for a little bit of a closer view.
I don't see the squash. That's because I saw it.
You don't see it? I think that's the idea of it. All right, so go ahead and get all of it up in there. You got it. All right, so we used most of the squash, and that was about 2 small to medium-sized squash, and I used 2 boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese. I appreciate you helping, Caroline, and you'll get to help some more later, but now Mommy needs to finish up. All right, so Caroline is done helping us, which we appreciated her help. So all she did a great job. She mixed it all up, and see, this is what it looks like with squash only. I haven't mixed any butter or milk or anything in there yet. So squash is very watery and has a lot of water in it, so that actually helps with the cheese and everything too. So I'm about to add some butter. I might add a little bit of butter. Again, if you want to try to only do the healthy route, then that's fine too, but it's a box of Kraft mac and cheese, so I'm going the classic route today instead of the homemade route. All right, so this is what it looks like after I've added milk and just the cheese and squash. I didn't add any butter this time, but as you can see, you can't tell the squash is in there one bit. You just pureed it, stuck it in there. I know it's one extra step, but you would have done a vegetable for a side. Typically you do a vegetable for a side dish for dinner anyway. And instead of doing it as a side dish, you mix it in one of your other dishes and then they don't know. So that way it helps, because the taste is pretty much the exact same. My kids didn't even notice the first time I put it in. Obviously they know it's in it now because I mixed it in and Caroline helped me too. But I'm gonna go ahead, and we have the broccoli roasting, the chicken is finishing up, and now we have the macaroni and cheese done. So once the broccoli comes out, I'm gonna roast the barbecue chicken for just a few seconds on broil, just to kind of give it that crispier taste. And then we'll serve dinner and we'll be done. All right, now I'm just putting the barbecue chicken in. And we'll let this broil just for a few seconds, but don't walk away from it because it can burn really quick. Hey guys, I'm just cleaning up the kitchen. I'm wrapping things up in the kitchen now. Just wanted to close out and say thank you so much for taking the time to spend time with us tonight and today. If you have any ideas for vegetables and ways to get your kids to eat them and hide them in other foods or recipes that you have, feel free to share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this time, please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you. Bye.